Maximalism is my happy place, and I was curious, can I design a bedroom for autumn full of maximalist needs, over-the-top designs, fall florals, autumn rich colors through Stable Diffusion? Well, that's what we're trying to figure out today. For those of you who don't know what Stable Diffusion is, it is a new piece of tech from the AI industry that is sweeping the internet. It has been so much fun, and I have been enjoying giving it prompts to try to generate things for burgundy weddings, fall weddings, all sorts of stuff. We did a little bit of home decor, and today we're trying to see if we can do a maximalist inspired bedroom for fall. So for those of you who aren't super familiar with Stable Diffusion, there is a GUI, which is like a user interface that you can download. You can do old school command line prompts, or you can use Dream Studio and pay per credit, essentially. And I am using the automatic 1111 GUI, which is what you see here, version 1.4 at the time. And this is where we started. This is the prompt, and we're working with text to image, which means we give it a text, which is what we see here, and then it gives us images. It's pretty simple, right? It's not as simple as you would think. What we're going to go through here today is going to be some of the best of that we've generated, but truly we've generated like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. So let's talk about the prompt that we use. I put in maximalist autumn bedroom, faux fall tree, floral arrangement, mirror, chandelier, high detail, intricate, and award-winning photography, 8K. So let's break that down. We have commas in here, which help delineate the different elements that we want. But also you'll notice that there's no parentheses or periods, which can tend to emphasize things. So if you especially wanted a mirror, you would put maybe a period after it, and that would tell the system, hey, that's really important to me. Also, from what I understand, making a prompt do what you want, it takes a lot of time to sculpt that. But there's some little tricks like putting the thing that's most important to you at the front. So that's why we see maximalist autumn bedroom right at the very top of the list. So when the AI is making these images for us, well, it knows that that's top priority. Negative prompts are things you don't want to be in the picture. So for me, my go-to are text, people, and blurry, because I don't want text because it does a lot of watermarks. I don't want people because it's hard for it to generate people. And blurry because, well, I don't want a blurry picture. Sampling steps. How much do we want the AI to fuss with the picture? I believe the default is around 20. I like to keep it somewhere between 45 and 65 depending on what I'm looking on or working on. But it really just depends on the style of what you're creating and what your expectations are. Sampling methods. Oh, that's a whole other ball game that I am not well versed in, but the TLDR is these are the different AI models that this system could reference. So Euler Ancestral is kind of my go-to, but a lot of people don't care for it because it can get a little adventurous. It's a little unpredictable, but that's okay. Restore faces, not applicable. Tiling, not applicable for us. High-res fix. Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Batch count and batch size, super easy. That's just telling us how many images we're making. So 3 times 2 is 6. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we made 6 images here. This is a collage image. We'll talk about that later. The CFG scale essentially is how strongly should the AI listen to your prompt. So it defaults at 7, and I typically like to work somewhere between 7 and 12 for something that I have a really specific vision on, but sometimes I play as low as 3 to 5 just to let it go crazy and see what I want, and I typically don't go over 12 to 15 at the absolute max, but 12 is probably the highest I've ever really had results that I like. Width and height, this is going to probably depend on your processing powers, but the AI for Stable Diffusion was trained on 512 by 512, and so that's what I generated because, well, we don't really need anything super crazy. Now, friends, all of the images that you see today will be uploaded to the blog and shared on there, so you can make sure to pin and save your favorites for your own home decor inspiration, and I'll also be pinning them on my autumn boards on Pinterest, so definitely make sure you are following me there so you can get all the inspiration in your home feed. All right, now that we've got the text to image prompt going, we can start enjoying some of the outcomes. I'm going to leave the prompt off to the side so we can kind of cross check back and forth. This is the first image we got, and I was like, actually, this is pretty great. I can see how it's referencing loosely the Maximalist. We have, we don't really have a fall tree, but we sort of have a floral chandelier. Well, we kind of have a chandelier. We have floral. I don't know. It's not the prompt, but it did what it wanted, as AI does. Now I thought this was interesting because it's putting the floral arrangement on the wall, which I'm not really mad about. I really like these. These are all autumn inspired. This kind of made me think of a hotel for some reason, but then I was like, wait a second, why are there so many lamps? But if we get past the excessive lamps, scones, whatever these are, for the most part, the wall is a really great idea, especially if you had the orange here and then that kind of mustard on either side, color blocking it. A lot of potential here. And that's what we want to talk about here is potential, right? Like right now, unless you're getting really, really good at sculpting your prompts and really fine tune it and running hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of images to get that one image that you really like. For me, as somebody with over a decade of event design experience, event planning, wedding planning, meeting planning, all the plannings in the hospitality and event world, this is a dream come true because this could be shared as an inspiration picture, right? Just like the weddings, this could be, maybe like this is 100% perfect, right? Like there's some weird things here, but if you were like, man, we want to do an installation for a wall or a home installation, here's some really cool ideas. This kind of looks like a big leaf. We can also take this and go, let's make it kind of a geometric pattern with the different fall colors. There's so much here. That might not be 100% something you're going to recreate leaf by leaf, table per table, but there's a lot of great potential here just to get the ideas and imagination going. So we're just going to filter through some of this and enjoy the extremes that we get. I kept this picture in the lineup because is it perfect? No, it's not going to be in Martha Stewart's magazine anytime soon. But I thought it was interesting because, at the end of the day, we did say we wanted a fall tree. We wanted it to be a floral arrangement. We wanted there to be a mirror. We wanted it to be in the bedroom. And honestly, it combined a lot of the stuff into this, so it's not terribly far off. This one I thought was really interesting with the mixed florals and foliage across the wall. It almost kind of looks like there's a wallpaper here, but it's very interesting. This one I thought was especially great. And I want to just note here how interesting it is that we have kind of like an olive green wall here. Over here we don't have any, but, it goes through a lot of things. But this picture made me think, could we tell it what wall color we want? So we're going to come back to that in a little bit. But I like how it's taking what I'm giving it and putting together its interpretation of what a bedroom decorated by a Maximalist for autumn and fall could look like. There's some really beautiful ones like this, which honestly are, for all intents and purposes, fairly realistic. This one is doable, not impossible. Huge ones like this with these fabulous statement walls. Does everything match here? No, not especially, but like I said, a lot of great potential. And I mean, this is gorgeous, right? Like this looks like something that could be very doable. Like this is a very, very possible statement wall. So I'm just going to enjoy scrolling through a few of these with you, just so you could kind of get a sense of what we were looking at. It's interesting that it mostly favors the bed, which obviously makes sense. We're telling it a bedroom, but chandelier, which is further down on the list. So bedroom is up here, chandeliers down here. It's putting chandeliers in most of the time, or some level of lights, but they're not like decorated most of the time. So it's interesting that it delineated the chandelier as a standalone element from the autumn or versus the fall tree or floral arrangement. Because I didn't say fall floral arrangement, but it's obviously leaning mostly that way. But I like that it's including chandeliers either way. Now, I always like experimenting and playing in Stable Diffusion and seeing what different settings do. And to be honest, it's a very new piece of technology that is constantly getting updates and changes. So what you see on my screen right now, by the time you download and install, could look totally different. But something I always like to do is try out the different settings for any one thing. So I was like, what does this high-res fix do? And how does that affect our pictures? So if you hover over it when you have it installed, it says use a two-step process to partially create an image at a smaller resolution, upscale it, which means make it larger, improve the details, and without changing the composition. And I was like, okay, I'm not entirely, I understand what the words mean, but I don't know how they work together. So I clicked it, and I did a small batch, which is what we see here. You can take, well, you can sort of see over here, but I don't know if you can tell because the images are only 512 by 512, and depending on what size screen you're watching this on, it's going to look a little blurry, but this, compared to what we were looking at earlier, it's very blurry. This is it at 100% on my screen, on my desktop. And the pictures are, one, not as fall. Like, it's the same prompt as we had before. No changes or anything. Same prompt. I don't feel like it's especially, like, over-the-top crazy fall that we had before. But that's okay. But everything is very rough around the edges to look at. Like, it's very blurry, despite it, you know, being blurry in here as the negative of what we don't want. So running it again, no change to anything else other than deselecting the high-res fix. We did get an immediate improvement in the image quality that we got. So still not quite the same batch as what we were getting earlier, but there's still a lot of really great fall walls in here. I love this installation. It's kind of funny that it has the mirror with the reflection of one of these, so there must be like another buffet table or nightstand or something over here with another one of these arrangements. But I was like, you know, this is interesting. It's very interesting. I ran it again just to make sure, and it's really interesting how it takes like a bedside dresser mirror and then decorates it for fall. And I'm like, you know, I hadn't thought of that, but that's why we're playing with Stable Diffusion and letting the AI explore what it wants. This might be one of my favorite rooms. I love the dark wood mixed with the light curtains, a lot of natural light, very creamy neutral, hint of leopard print. And this wall, if it was all kind of like a mustard colored and not this kind of like tinge of orange or whatever, if it was all, we'll say mustard, I think it would be absolutely gorgeous, especially if you did this, you know, just for the fall season and then switched it up for something in the other seasons to come. I think this would be stunning. So we kind of experimented with high-res fix a little bit, but I figured, you know, let's go with something that we know is probably going to work out a little bit better for us. We know how to manipulate it. And I thought, in the past, we've experimented with a specific color. If you checked out some of the other Stable Diffusions I did, we talked about how burgundy is a kind of tricky color to navigate even for humans. Even when you search for the color burgundy, it has a wide range of hues and saturation that come up. And I thought, what's something in autumn that might be tricky? And I thought, you know, bronze is kind of hard to figure out. There's a lot of hardware that's bronze, and a lot of lamps come in a bronze finish, but when you Google bronze, well, it's kind of all over the place, right? Like there's dark bronze, there's oiled bronze. So I updated the prompt to have bronze decor, and I added apple green in just to see, because I liked that there was an apple green wall, remember? And then I left it the rest of the same. So because we put bronze decor at the top, apple green following that, I was like, okay, it's going to emphasize these things, right? I was also enjoying playing around with the different sampling steps, and I bumped it up to 63. So remember, sampling steps is kind of how much it fusses over the image. So this is one of the first images we got, and I was a little underwhelmed. But then, the further we go, the more I'm like, okay, I think it gets where we're going with this. So we have kind of an apple green wall. We maybe have a fireplace going in these nightstand tables. I think this we can consider a bronze, maybe chandelier. I think it brought in bronze in that kind of dark wood, dark frame that we're seeing here. But I was like, okay, you know, we're not seeing as much apple green as I'd like, but you know, we're seeing a little green here. This backdrop wall, as it is absolutely stunning. I love the true burgundy mixed with that almost marigold, mustardy orange color. Not seeing a ton of bronze. This is a fantastic statement wall over here. some nice stuff. It's nice stuff. Nothing's terrible in here, but I wasn't seeing enough of the apple green. And I thought this wall, I left it in the mix. I wish it filled in the last little spots here, but I thought this is a very beautiful mixture of burgundy, fall colors, oranges, that kind of dark green. Wall was incredible, but again, it incorporated green more in the wall, which is fine. I didn't specify. But not seeing a lot of bronze. Some great walls. I guess this is kind of bronze. You know, and it's not necessarily the AI that's messing up. It could be how the prompt is sculpted so it understands what we want, right? So that's part of the experience of fussing with the Stable Diffusion, is figuring out how you can get what's in your head in writing and text that the AI can understand and process. Now there are options in image to image where you can upload an image and give it a prompt and let it make its own interpretation off of the visual cues and text that you input, but that's a whole other experience that I am still getting my toes wet in. So I don't like to change anything too much when I'm not getting the results that I want, because I want to understand what is going wrong. So in this instance, I said, okay, the bronze decor, fine, you know, that's okay. I don't want to change that because I don't have anything specific I really want bronze, but I said maybe the apple green that we referenced, maybe we'll tell it we want that as the wall color as opposed to the floral color, and see where it goes. The rest of the stuff, all the same. So these are just a few of my favorites that it has generated so far. So I mean, I did filter out some of them, don't get me wrong, but by and large, we have apple green walls. And I would still say most of the decorations lean towards the fall autumn vibes, the colors that it's mixing in. I liked the almost Dolly-esque inspired apple. And it's still got the bedroom elements, like this could be, you know, loosely a dresser or a dress side table or something. This one I saw and I thought, you know, I don't know whose bedroom is just got enough wall space to put something like this in, but I think this would be gorgeous in like a hotel lobby or something like this, especially if you had a big wreath like this that you could change out for the seasons. But I really like that dimensionally the wreath was placed on top of this frame. So this frame is on the wall at all times. It's probably built into the wall, I would imagine. And then the wreath is literally framed on the wall, and I would imagine you could change that seasonally. But that goes back to one of the reasons I absolutely love Stable Diffusion, is because this might not have been what I put in. Like, I clearly did not put that in to my prompt, but it's what I got, and I really like it, and it's great inspiration. And I could see this going to a client and being like, hey, I haven't seen something like this before. Have you? No. Let's do something cool like this. And, you know, you might not do the exact decor or anything on here, but the premise, there's a lot of great ideas here you can build upon. We got a little all over the place with the decor. It made little vignettes like this. I'm assuming it was trying to put a mirror in here. Hard to say, but a lot of vignettes, because at this point, remember, the prompt is most focused on bronze decor, apple green wall, and then it gets into the Maximalist autumn bedroom. So it's loosely referencing bedrooms, but as you've noticed, there's not as many beds as there was earlier on before we started adding more stuff to the prompt. Now this is one of the few bedroom shots that I liked that it kept in the rotation, that it actually, I think, loosely did what it was supposed to. This one, it didn't get the apple green wall in a traditional sense. It pretty much just made the apple green wall in floral. But again, this is still really, really beautiful. And how many homes have some level of white with this nice dark rich wood in it anyways? Obviously this wall would be a custom install, but still. This installation, beautiful. And this is the one we saw in the image over here with the prompt. And I thought it was interesting that the little lampshades it made were also apple green. And the last piece of this installation was this bedroom, and this is one of the last images it generated, and I was actually pleasantly surprised and impressed. So to answer our original question, can we make a maximalist bedroom for autumn in Stable Diffusion AI? Well, I think we can. I think we've seen that we have a ton of great ideas generated from this system. The AI is getting better and better, I swear. It seems like, or maybe we're just getting better at writing prompts as we go along with these experiments. If If you want to see more videos, I have some great other videos about fall weddings. We were able to design a full fall wedding, wedding altar, reception center pieces, over-the-top decor, all with Stable Diffusion. We also tried a burgundy wedding and had a lot of great floral designs there. And now that we're playing with a little bit of the traditional interior design, I'm kind of excited about all the potentials we can do for seasons to come. So, if you want to see more videos, make sure to give this video a like and thumbs up. And if you have a specific prompt that you would like me to try, especially for seasonal decor ideas, I love a good challenge. Make sure to drop that in the comments down below. Until next time, friends, I'm going to go play with some more Stable Diffusion and see what else I can make next. Bye, friends!